John, Scottish Veterans Awards, you're the charity partner. Why is that important to you?
Well, firstly, Mark, it's a huge privilege to be the charity partner for such a fabulous initiative on Sean's part. This is the second year that I've taken part in this event, and it really does a lot to showcase the value that veterans bring both to business, to the local community and to society at large.
You served in the Royal Scots and then the Royal Regiment of Scotland. What would those have meant to you when you were serving and you look at the veterans and how good and how the veterans are being rewarded or awarded, if you like?
I think what it does for me is it reminds me and other veterans just how proud we are and were of our military service. But it also helps to dispel that myth that veterans are somehow mad, bad and sad. There are, of course, a minority of veterans who do need support, and they absolutely should get that support. But the vast majority will have a great military career and then go on to have fabulous second, third, fourth careers. And as I said before, we'll add that wider value.
And events like this tonight, it's about fundraising, but it's about awareness too.
I think it's both. I would argue that it's more awareness than it is fundraising. The fundraising's great, you know, I mean, as a charity representative, I would say that. But that's great. But no, the main aim is to raise the profile of veterans of Scotland.
We don't want to preempt your speech, but you're going to be making a little speech. Can you give us an idea what's going to be in that?
I'll say a few words. I'll obviously be talking not just about my own charity, the Army Benevolent Fund, but I'll be talking about the Royal Navy and Royal Marines charity, because they're the other charity partner tonight for the first time at this event. But again, I'll be going on to talk about why our charities exist, how we operate, how we support that minority that need our support, and how that need is evolving over time, because I think people need to realise that.
Enjoy your night tonight.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Scottish Veterans Awards.
Thank you.
You're chair of the Veteran Support Group at work. How is your veterans community represented within the organisation?
Okay, so we set up our support group a few years ago. We had a guy who was ex-army, and he was quite open about his PTSD that he was suffering, and the company supported him through it, and he contacted me and said it was amazing the support we had, and he didn't think the others in the organisation knew that we offered that, and what could we do? So we set up a Teams call, and this was during lockdown as well, so we set up a Teams call, and all of these people from across the organisation joined the call, and we introduced as to why have you joined, what's your interest, and there were so many people. I mean, we're an oil and gas company, so the synergies between the services and the skill sets that we have in the industry they just marry up.
Can you elaborate on that a wee bit?
Well, if you think about it, you've got divers, pilots, mechanics, engineers. You know, you're used to working away from home. We work 2 weeks offshore, 3 weeks onshore, so it's a 2 and 3 rota, which is actually quite appealing to some. We're in the North Sea only at the moment. We're quite a small company. We're about 250 staff, and our offshore work base, quite a lot of them live in the north of England, so they can easily travel, and we're just not quite sure that message gets out there. People think oil and gas, and they go, well, surely that's not an industry you want to join. We're not very popular right now, I would say, with some of the activists. But in terms of the energy industry, though, it is quite an exciting time, and we're part of that energy transition. I mean, we are solely oil and gas at the moment. We are 5% of the UK's gas supply we provide. But we are actually obviously investing in new technology to try and get to that kind of carbon-free future.
Tell me a wee bit about the award you're going to be presenting this evening.
So this evening they've given us the Volunteer of the Year Award. We've sponsored these awards for a couple of years now, but we're doing the Volunteer of the Year Award this year. And I think when you come to these evenings, it's so inspirational that you can't help but coming back to support them, right? And if it just makes you support more, get off your arse and do something. If it's give money or give your time, then I just think it's worthwhile.
Brilliant. Well, enjoy your night tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I hope so.
Ever since Lady Macrobert lost her 2 sons in World War II within 6 weeks of each other, and in response to that, she bought a bomber, just a great thing to do, for £25,000, would you believe? And then after that, £20,000 for a hurricane. Ever since that point, the provision of support to the entire military family has been at the Macrobert core. And we do that in a number of ways. We generally give about £1 million a year to charity after Gillian's earned it on the estate. Over the last 20 years, we've given just under £10 million to military charities, of which £7.5 million is for veterans, has been for veterans charities. We have an award-winning 4-star country house hotel, Doonside House, in the middle of the estate, which gives a significant military discount. For that I mean 25% flat rate if you're in the military family, which we define as serving or veteran, regular, reserve, even cadet force adult volunteers, and I don't mean that appropriately, will get a 25% discount unless you're on bottle, in which case you get 40%.
Okay.
And we support other awards and things like Macrobert swords and medals for reservists. So when we saw about 18 months ago, I saw that these awards were happening. I sort of looked into it and you thought, well, this is doing exactly what we would like to do, which is to promote and celebrate the wonderful thing that veterans are. You see, I'm not at all biased, as you understand, but that they are, and this was doing exactly that in such the right way and really properly. So that's why we're here.
Fantastic. Tell us a little bit about your service.
Right. Okay. Well, I did 37 years in the Navy. Yeah. I was the chief engineer in civvy speak, so to speak, for all 3 of the aircraft carriers that we had, ending up on the new aircraft carrier project. My last 2 jobs, I ran the Faslane submarine base, and then was what we call Flag Officer Scotland, so the senior naval officer in Scotland, and Flag Officer Reserves, head of reserves, and cadets, and all the other things that other people didn't want to do, frankly. So, and after 37 years, it was time to get a real job. And I turned around and someone just said to me, why don't you look at this? A job that you spend your daytime trying to earn the money, and then after that, you get the privilege of being able to look at how you can give away £1 million a year. It's tremendous.
We're delighted to have you involved in the Scottish Veterans Awards. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. Not at all. It's our pleasure.